Hello, one and all you wonderful people out there. How are you today? Let's see here. It's Friday, and I'm going live because I don't know what else to do with myself on a Friday. If I go out, everybody wants to get high or stoned or loaded. Not for me. I'm too old for that. Did that. Don't need to do that anymore. And of course, we have this Ukrainian war going on, which is weighing heavily in most of our hearts, at least in mine, and I imagine other people's too. So I would just like to invite you to come along and talk. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. We're a live stream. Can't join me, but you can certainly send me messages on the chat. Love to hear from you. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and check out my Quodkru forum and read some of the threads that may be happening right now. A lot of people are posting things that they're getting off of Twitter, which I go on to Twitter from time to time, but there's times I just want to blow my stack. So most of the time, I don't stay on there very long. I just feel like what little bit of IQ points I have just start to drain. So I'm going to have to go on another site just so I can find out how my sound is, if that's possible. I was using a different format at home, and I'm in my studio. So if you catch any of my other live performances, which most of the time I will go ahead and delete them because if I'm showing some music or listening to some music, then it's going to not allow me to post because of copyright laws. You know how that is. So I'm going to look for my website here. I should be able to find it just by clicking here, going to my channel, and let's see, I have a live thing going on. It's Friday. Now, Fridays are supposed to be good days, right? We're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to enjoy life because it's Friday. But today it's prayer day. I have to put that on a mute, otherwise we'll end up getting the feedback. Yeah, I'm afraid today is prayer day for sure. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in a Ukrainian. I just can't imagine it. I wish I could play music, but I don't play music. I am going to play music. If I play music, then that's why I have to delete this because they will get me for copyright. So it's like, what would you feel like of being a Ukrainian on this Friday night? Of course, for them, it's Saturday. So I guess it would be this Saturday morning. My heart breaks. That's all I can say. It just breaks and breaks and breaks. If you could tell me how this sounds, that would be great. If anybody's listening. Otherwise, I'm just going to put on some music. Let's see here. I found a nice site on the Facebook that has some beautiful music sounding along with pictures, and it's a live stream. So I want to give Tim Janis a shout out. It just so happens that Tim Janis is a good one for me because of the fact that my last name is named after the god Janus. And this guy's name is Janus. Okay, let's see. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit, but I don't want to drown anybody out. What do you think? Sounds pretty good? Anyway, I think that people are pretty lazy, or they just don't understand how to make the computer work. I can't even get my family or friends to hook up with me. Maybe because it's late for them, 8 o'clock here, but it's later if you're in other parts of the country. Guess I'll just be here for a couple hours. Of course, a lot of my friends have disowned me because I was a Trump supporter. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? That if you're a Trump supporter, they think that you're a racist because they listen to the, what is it? They listen to the M5M, and they believe M5M is the way to go. That's all they want to do, is just be fed constant stories. And they don't want to have to investigate the stories. Why would they do that when they could just repeat the stories? And if they repeat the stories enough times, then it's true. Isn't that how it works? Well, it is how it works now. I could have other people watching and just not participating in the chat room. But I kind of find like I what fun is that if you can't participate? I mean, I think the thing that when I was working for the phone company and I was watching all this new technology coming out, and eventually they were talking about 3D interactions and holograms and all that kind of stuff, which is awesome in itself. But just the technology of being able to connect with someone same time, real time, and talk to them. And of course, we've been doing it on telephones for a long time, and I was able to do that with my telephone. um, but you were pretty much stuck with a wire. But then, of course, when we came out with wireless, it's like awesome. You could take it anywhere you want to go, which I thought was awesome. And then the next thing they said was, oh, well, guess what? You can also do is we're going to add a camera to it, and then you'll have your very own camera. And I thought, I thought to myself, a very own camera. That's like unbelievable. Because I was always having to fight with my camera. I'd get a camera, I had to put batteries in it. And as soon as I went on a trip or went somewhere, I got my camera out and the batteries are dead. And then they had these weird batteries that you couldn't find just at the grocery store. You had to find them at a special camera shop. And of course, if you're in another country, where do you find another camera shop? You're on vacation. You don't have a car. You don't know the area. So how cool is that? Have your own cell phone with a camera. It'd be with you all the time. How that would improve life, right? Well, then what happens? The unintended consequences. All of a sudden, you have all these people that are taking these selfies and are self-absorbed with their own, person, and they're walking all over town, taking pictures of themselves and walking out in the street, walking off cliffs. It's like, hello, can't you like at least put that thing down long enough to see where you're going? Anyway, that's crazy. Okay, it's getting warm in here. I have to turn the heat down, so I'm going to be right back. Ooh, shadows. Shadows in the land. Okay, so I wish there was a way I could tell what my sound is like. If my voice is loud enough or not loud enough. I'm just using a camera with a regular microphone. This is my fake microphone. And when I talk into it, it reverberates. Can you hear that? Hello? I could see that. I watch everybody and I see that they watch, all the people that are getting their names out there. They have their own like fancy camera. I mean, not camera. I'm off the camera subject. Microphone with the thing that, I don't know, it's kind of a sound suppressor. And then they also have their sound board where they can mix a mixer, and they can mix the highs and the lows. And it really does help. But, here I am thinking, well, I'm just a makeshift operation. So what do I need to invest a lot of money in that kind of stuff? So I don't. Hi. Okay, so on Friday nights, my husband, he's a workaholic. He works all the time. So he works harder than anyone I've ever met in my lifetime. And he's so funny. He's going, well, some doctor that was working in the same thing that he was doing or is doing. He said he was just getting older and older and older and more decrepit. Well, they found him in his car. He'd went out for a break and he died right then in his car. So Thor's like, yeah, that's the way I want to go. I'm going to go working. I'm not going to be. It's pretty funny about that. So, okay, that's the way he is. So that leaves me with a lot of time on my hands because I'm retired. I tried to be the family therapist, but I found out that my personality does not work for being a family therapist. I have no tolerance for most people anymore. I kind of went into it late in life, but I thought it would be good if I could have my own business and not have to work for anybody else. I worked 30 years for the phone company. I loved it, but after 30 years, I was ready to not work for the phone company anymore. So I retired, and then I wanted to go back and finish my education. I had taken classes through all my youth and work, and I never had quite got that degree. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back and get my bachelor's degree. And it just so happened that there was the local college was doing a adult evening program where you could go back and work and get your degree. And so I went back and got my bachelor's degree. So that was cool. But I was pretty burned out of school by then, of course. It took me a long time. I'm a slow learner. I said those IQ points aren't very good on my side of the family. So anyway, what happened then is that I took a year or two screwing around. And my husband says, well, I guess you can get a job, and I want to get a job. I don't want to get a job. I mean, I worked already in my life. I was working as a 13-year-old babysitting, which is another story altogether, because I think about a certain Depends man who married his babysitter. And I think that is about as low as you can get. And I know a lot of men do that. And I don't know, there was probably a bigger or not as big an age gap with them as there was when I started babysitting at 13. But I don't know. I don't know the details. So anyway, that being told, I worked every weekend for, babysitting these kids, and it terrified me. I was scared of kids. I mean, they just were like demanding little creatures, and they wanted to be read to, and they wanted to be fed, and all those things. So I kind of grew up a little bit unhappy or not knowing about whether I wanted to have children. But then, after about 16, 17, when you could get a job, I got a real job working at Pup and Taco. Well, that's perfect for me because I love tacos. I always have loved tacos, and I'm going to continue to love tacos. Pup and Taco, they also had hot dogs. So it was hot dogs and tacos. I mean, what else is there? Anyway, being with that particular job, I had a supervisor. At the time, I was pretty naive, pretty young. I didn't know what's going on. And his name was Augie, like Augie Doggy. And he liked to take the girls out, I don't know, to his office or in the parking lot and show them pictures of, girly nudie pictures. And I'm like, I go, okay, yeah. I mean, today you would have turned him in. I suppose I could have turned him in then, but he was my boss. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I was just, nothing happened, that was it. And so after, I don't know, several months, I don't even think it was a year, I got hired somewhere else, and I got hired somewhere else, and finished high school and went to the local community college and worked myself through all of that. So then I got to go to Humboldt State. I transferred and I went up to Eureka, California. My friend, long friend, who we met before we even started grade school, kindergarten, and she had the same idea. She had other plans. She wanted to go to Humboldt State. We wanted to be forest rangers, or live on the land. I don't know. Wildlife management was what I ended up actually declaring. And I got there as a junior. I mean, I had my units, for the 2 years at the community college, and at the time there was a fella. He was my sister's boyfriend's best friend, and he was here, locally at my home, and we started dating, and we started getting a little serious with each other. And then, of course, it was like, but I'm going to college. So he decided, he was a year younger than me, I think, maybe 2, I don't know. But he figured he would just go with me, and he would go to college there too. There was a junior college or a community college there, so he was fine. He could use that while I was finishing at Humboldt State. Well, anyway, I get up there with him, and the guy turns into be a total horse's ass. And all of a sudden, he's like Mr. Jealous. And it just went downhill from there. Needless to say, I didn't finish my my degree, and things started happening. And so I went ahead and dropped out and came home. Then I got a job for the phone company, which was awesome. I liked working for the phone company. Ups and downs and all that kind of stuff as you go through life, but it was still interesting. You get to learn about PCM. What's that? Pulse code modulation. Now, I learned a lot about PCM because of the pulse code modulation, which is what we used when we started going into electronic voice. And it did sampling of the analog signal that you're pushing through the lines, and then it samples these signals, and then it turns it into a digital signal. And you could boost it up faster, it would go faster, would travel longer. And there was just this huge increase in telecommunications. And I watched it all. It's pretty exciting. First of all, I was an operator for, about a year. Telephone operator, that is. I was the O operator, so you answer the phone. At that time, we didn't have the cord boards. They got rid of the cord boards, so it was electronic. So you would just sit at a desk, and the calls would just drop into you, and you had your little headset on. So you were doing the operator, And then most of the time we were calls that people were calling from the coin telephones. Remember the coin telephones? There used to be some coin telephones out there. Uh, I mean, that was the only way you could call anyone is with payphone. That was before cell phones. So if you had made a phone call and you had overgone your time, your payment, I would get the signal and it would call you back, and then you would say, oh, okay, you still owe, whatever, 50 cents, $1.50, whatever it was. And then they would put the money in and that would be that. Well, one thing I really learned easy enough was that for the most part, people were pretty, I would say, honest. They would wait for the call, for you to call them back and tell them how much they owed. I was always marveled at that because it's like they could easily have just said, "Screw this! I'm not paying anything. I'm out of here." I'm not really sure. There's nothing you could do about it. And I mean, sometimes that did happen. Sometimes you got somebody who would say that they didn't stick around for for you to call them back. They took off. Just trying to fix that camera a little bit so I don't have that screen. My screen of, I don't know what bridge that is, but I would say it's somewhere in the Great North because we have the Aurora Borealis going on here. I love the Aurora Borealis. Okay, so, um, hmm. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Nobody's out there. Okay, so here's the deal that I always thought was interesting about PCM, or the fact that you have this timing thing. We had in the computer with the electronic switching that we do. We have these giant plug-in cards. They weighed at least 10 pounds. Um, and there was some that had like a timing mechanism, so it had a timing and it had to run a certain way, and then everything clocked off of that timer. And once in a while that thing would break. Well, of course, we always had redundancy, so you always had a copy A, copy B. So if there was something wrong with copy A, it would switch over to copy B, and then you would do a routine every night where it would switch from copy A to copy B, or copy one to copy two. So a lot of times you would have trouble with your switch and you'd get these error codes. And so you would have to analyze it and go, oh, this is only happening when it's running on copy one. So that means it's happening on copy one or two, depending on what that happened. Those are easy. Those are easy things to do, but they're not necessarily, because you could see, you would, the thing would tell you to change out a certain card, and you go and change that card out and it wouldn't fix the problem. Well, that's probably because you were on the wrong side of the copy. And so you had to figure that out. We had analysts that would call and say, hey, I'm detecting a problem and we can please change out this particular card. The other thing we had was the dial tone cards. Like if you had, people would say, they pick up their phone, there's no dial tone. Well, of course, today we don't even hear dial tone on cell phones. You kind of have that dead air space in the background, which in the old days when you had lines, you had a 48 volts of DC current that was there. So you always would get some kind of a idea that there was a sound that you couldn't hear, but it wasn't, it wasn't dead space. People don't even probably understand what I'm talking about. And that's why I am a big old nerd, because I grew up with a phone company doing phone services. And first of all, like I said, I was a year as a telephone operator. Tell you the truth, I hated being a telephone operator. It was really boring. Well, there were a lot of older women that liked it because when you're there as a telephone operator, you could do stuff like when you weren't busy, you could do needlework, you know? So I did a whole lot of, what do you call that stuff where you do the needlework? I don't remember. You tell me. Oh, wait, there's nobody here. Hmm. Well, I've been jabbering for 30 minutes. That's pretty good. Send a message every 1 minute, slow mode. What do you think? Is slow mode a good thing to have? Can I change that? I don't know if I can. Oh well. So how do I like my pandas? This is my panda collection. And then I have a Tyler the Tigger over there. He's pretty interesting little pet. He roars and talks and jabbers when I have him turned on. But right now he's sleeping. I got a comment from my brother-in-law on the channel that I'm streaming to you on, right? It's the what do you call it? The thumbnail? Oh no, the yeah. Anyway, it's a green turtle, sea turtle, or in Hawaiian it's called hono, Hono. It's a hono. Indeed, it is. Um, I get to go to Hawaii sometimes, and when I'm in Hawaii, I can see the green turtles in the water. Just look out my balcony, and there they are, right down there in the water, swimming around. There's a they call it a reef. Yeah, a reef, and it's one of the places that the turtles like to go because you can feed on that reef. Well, I don't know. You know, this reef is not very well. It's an old reef. I think it's pretty old. And I think what happened, okay, on the condominiums that we have, that it was built in Kanapali, and it's right on the reef. But there used to be a lot more sand, and of course, back in the I don't know, in '60s, 70s, they were building like crazy there, and so they put all this sand on the beaches. They trucked it all in to make the beaches all nice and sandy. Well, what happens is now because of um, erosion, just beach erosion that happens all the time, probably has nothing to do with climate change, and it's starting to erode all the beaches in that area of Kanapali Beach, which is a real problem. And I think what happened is as there's erosion going on, this is something I read, the walls, they put up the sea walls to try to keep the the buildings from not eroding. Well, the problem with that is that when you put up these hard core seawalls, with lots of and concrete and stones or boulders, then you end up having the erosion gets worse. So now instead of before when the beach would come in and pull the sand away and then it would come back and bring the sand in, so you would see a difference in sand. But now because we build these stoned fences, is like the water comes in and it pulls the sand out. It like pulls it out farther and it doesn't deposit it back. So that reef has no sand on it anymore. And we don't really have much of a beach there anymore either, which of course, we just have been staying there the last 5 years. So as far as I can see, there's not a good beach there. The other thing about the beach is that they don't want you on the reef. They want the reef to grow back. They're hoping that the coral will take back and that it's a good source of food for the fish. So they discourage people from being on that reef. Well, what fun is that? It's a perfect place to go explore when the tide is low. You could go out there on the reef, but they don't want you on the reef because now you're destroying the coral. And let's face it, it's already destroyed. I don't think it's going to get better. I don't know. Crazy world, crazy world. All right, so what else? Say something. See, what happens is if I keep myself entertained this way. I not to say anything bad about any of the other live streamers that are out there, but here's this thing: is that I go on the different places, the different live streamings, and it's interesting because you see some people who are working at a donut shop, right? So the guy is like he's making donuts and he's talking to you, and he's the only one there at night making the donuts. So it keeps him company. I don't know how many donuts he's getting made, but it is interesting to see how they do it. He gets this big old mound of dough and he puts it on the table, and then he's like, whatever, and then he's chopping, rolling it out. Oh yeah, you got to roll it out, and then you're chopping the donut hole, pushing the donuts in, and then whatever. He didn't really make donuts. He was just making the dough for the donuts. And he'd have the big racks of the dough that they would, the guys in the front probably took that and put it in the hot fryer, and voila, you have donuts. But I never did see donuts made. That was one guy. That was interesting. Then there was another guy, and this guy, he's a chef. And I think he's in Australia, but he is also he's Italian guy. So he makes the meals for people who come, and they also have pizza there, but he doesn't do the pizza. He does the other stuff. Fun guy, and they got these little games going on, and you got these little things dropping down out of the screen. It's pretty exciting. Okay. That guy's okay. That guy was fun to watch. But, how much can you watch this guy? He's on all the time. And he's making money. He makes a lot of money. And then there's this other guy who's in, I think it's in Riyadh, but I'm not sure. But anyway, he's in Saudi Arabia. And he must work for probably an oil company, or he does a computer, something. I don't know. But he does a live stream, and he drives all over the desert in his, I don't know, I think it's it's either a Toyota or the other thing, a Honda. I think it's a Honda. Anyway, he's driving all over Riyadh in the desert on the in the streets. And he goes to, and then one time he went to a fish market, and he's talking about the fish and just how life was going on like that. Um, that was interesting. Okay, so those were three things that I found. That was interesting. But now, the other streamers are all into either gaming. A lot of them are doing their games, which is, awesome if you like games, but I don't get the games things at all. It just seems like, I don't know, it's people jumping through the air and jumping over rocks and jumping over land and swimming in the water. And it's like they're flying all over the place. Look at the fairies. I mean, okay, fairies are good. I like fairies. Don't get me wrong. But it's just not for me. I don't get it. I couldn't even do Pong. I was too uncoordinated. So then, um, who else? Oh, and then they're huffing and puffing their cigarettes. Nah, not for me. I mean, not even the puffers. It's the vapors, the vape tools. And then they're doing their marijuana. They're getting high, or they're getting loaded. They're drinking alcohol. They're having a party. Yay, yay! Everybody gets drunk. Whee! And of course, I'm watching them from the time when they start their show till the end, where they're starting to drink and get crazy and start getting sloppy and slurring their words. Which I slur my words all the time. I don't need alcohol to help me do that. And anyway, as I said, they are just, or they're really nasty. These poor young women, they want to do something with their lives, and thank God they're not, prostituting themselves on the street, at least not yet. But they have to show they have to show their tits, they have to show their asses, they have to look like, like some beauty queen or. And come on, those poor things. Is that what you have to do to get attention? Hmm, I guess it is. I guess it helps. It definitely helps. I mean, I was young. I had those big perky boobs once in my lifetime. They're still big and perky. Just ask Thor. Okay, it's time for me to get a drink. No, I need some water. Be right back. Okay, now this is for Saul. See, Saul, I have some Malbec. Malbec from Costco. I saw this. I was like, thought of you, Saul, and I thought, I got to get this from Argentina. Ta-da. But I really need somebody to drink this with because I don't drink alone. No, I am not going to drink alone. I refuse. Well, maybe a glass of wine. Oh, that is wine. Well, maybe, maybe I will. I don't know. Anyway, water for now. Okay, come on, bring them on. Where's everybody? Where's everybody? Hey, how's this relaxing hymns? It's beautiful, isn't it? It's just beautiful. But I can't watch it anymore. I can't hear it anymore either. Well, we have live video, which I have to say, it's really raw for me. And I don't really, I can't watch the news. I can't watch the news people. I can't watch cable. I can't watch any of those people. They're not real. They're just not real. I don't know what they're telling me. I don't know if it's true or not. So I understand. I watch a couple of people to get my news, and I get my news from Quodkru. I trust it. We have Saul, who is the moderator, and he runs a tight ship. We got a lot of criticism from a lot of the, I don't know, bloggers or whatever you want to call them, streamers, because he just wouldn't put up with this whole thing with the anti-vaxxers and all the bullshit that they came up with on whatever they came up with. And anyway, so they all got kicked out. A lot of people got kicked out. And then we had a problem with this other guy who is he was a blogger, and a journalist. He wrote stories. So he and his brother were tight with the group, and he would sit in on our meetings. And I don't know, he's just got a bee in his bonnet and decided to be a horse's ass, and went off into this crazy rage against the the machine, so to speak. Very weird. And we had a lot of people that were just outraged that he got outraged. I mean, how dumb is that? And in the meantime, we also had this other guy who has been trying to undermine the guy, and actually we had several that were working at undermining us. And then lo and behold, they were teaming up. I mean, I could see that this guy was like going after some of the people that were doing the good writing. The good writers are the ones that had some what you call followers. They had a lot. They had a lot of followers. Me, I have 2 followers. So actually, my YouTube is growing just a little bit. I actually have like 12 followers. That's pretty funny, huh? I have to laugh my butt off about that, because who cares, really? I mean, who really gives a rat's patootie? I don't give a rat's patootie. But it would be nice if I had somebody at least to talk to me with, once in a while, like, hey. Nobody. So I'm watching this thing on Live Planet, and it's called Mundo, Mundo. That's the music you hear in the background. But it's showing a couple of bombed out buildings that, I don't know, they might have looked that way before, but, and then you have some senior people who are just standing around, waiting for something to happen, waiting for somebody to rescue them. It's pretty sad. Um, Here's another one. I'll post this on Quodkru. Epic failure. It's what it is. Did you hear the Ukrainian saying that they're going to ask that all able-bodied males, 14 years of age and older, they're going to conscript them into their military army? Is that true? I don't know. Can you imagine 14-year-olds and higher? And then we're all going on about this Kyle Rittenhouse thing. You know, he was at least, I think he was 17. I don't think he was quite 18. They're trying to sue the world, but I don't know. What would you do? What would you do? I don't know. What would you do? That's the question. What would you do? All right, so here's my my website. Control C. I'm going to put it here while I'm streaming. Oh, I got another one. Say English, please. And no spamming. Rachel Golden. But, you know, what she puts in here is VUN.FYI. VUN FYI. I don't know what that is. What is that? Can you tell me what that is? I don't know what it is. Somebody tell me. Tell me now. This is really a fake microphone, but it's kind of fun because when I talk into it, it echoes. What's funny is this thing goes on. This goes on in the Middle East as far as in Iraq and Iran and Israel. This goes on. War goes on and on. Will it ever end? I don't think so. Live 1 hour. Yeehaw! I made it an hour and I only got one Russian bot by the name of Rachel Golden. Go figure. Maybe she likes my panda. Here's Panda. You know, I have a dog named Panda. I like my little puppy dog. And that's Tyler over there. Tyler. Tyler, where are you? Oh, I think my 12 minutes ran out of Mundo. Oh, it's called Planet Live. Guess what? We have Google Maps. We get to watch war on Google Maps. How fucked up is that? Oh, sorry. That's the other gripe I have for those other horrible things called, what do you call those people? Oh, yeah, who are doing the streaming, is they like to use the F word a lot, like all the time. And, you know, I have a problem with that because I like the word, but I think it's a better word to use when it's an explicative. I mean, it's an exclamation. It drives home a certain kind of emotion to it. Not these people. They use that word it's the only adjective they know. It's the only adverb they know. It's the only verb they know. I mean, it's like, come on. Oh, well, you know, what do you expect? These are people that graduated with a high school degree. So sad. Okay, well, I am getting a little on the tired side here. I mean, I was up for 2 hours, but I'm not gonna do this.
Desde que os Estados Unidos invadiram o Iraque em 2003. O presidente Vladimir Putin foi à TV para dizer que faria uma operação militar especial no Donbass, a área de minoria.
It's funny, I can hear this now in 50 different languages about President Biden and I don't know what Putin is. Putin, Russian. Listen, just listen. It's the same shit.
Segundo o presidente, a Rússia terá os negócios limitados em diferentes moedas. Ele citou o dólar, a libra, o euro e o iene. Assim como no discurso da terça-feira, no qual anunciou as primeiras sanções,
Sorry.
será feito de modo que não impacte o mercado interno. O presidente destacou o combustível nos Estados Unidos e afirmou que vai liberar reservas de petróleo para não inflacionar preços nos postos de gasolina. Em coletiva após o discurso, Biden foi questionado sobre a posição da China nesse cenário. O presidente disse que não responderia sobre esse tema.
Microsoft Edge is using my microphone. What do you think? Should Microsoft Edge use my microphone? What do you think they're using my microphone? Are they spying on me? No, I am broadcasting on YouTube. They don't have to spy on me.
Boa noite, Brão. Boa noite, Zé, Piuta, mestre Augusto Nunes. Boa noite a nossa audiência maravilhosa desde ontem aí, altos índices na Jovem Pan, né, sobre a cobertura aí dessa nova guerra, desse novo confronto militar entre Ucrânia e Rússia. Vitor, olha, as anotações aqui tomaram conta da minha mesa, muita coisa para a gente discutir. É uma composição geopolítica complicada, é preciso revisitar aí a história, trazer eventos do passado também, para a gente tentar entender tudo o que está acontecendo agora ali no leste europeu, principalmente em relação à queda da União Soviética, a própria atuação do Vladimir Putin já há alguns anos. Eu estava assistindo hoje uma especialista...
I think this is Portuguese, is what this is. All right, because they're talking about Saul, Yeah, whatever.
Inteligência americana, inteligência russa, usou aí a fundo todos os documentos, né, da KGB, e ela vem dizendo desde ontem que Vladimir Putin vem planejando isso.
So, anybody have anything good? Oh, here's Euro news. See what the hell they have to say.
Support from the international community does come. We're learning that adult men between 18 and 60 years old.
Oh, they said 18 to 60 years old. No, it's 14. 14 to 60 years old.
Definitely, this is part of the martial law that was introduced yesterday morning in the very first hour.
Martial law. They cleaned it up for us.
Invasion in the very early hours of this war that Russia.
Let's see, this is Euro News, is funded in whole or in part by the European Union. Okay, so it's going to be totally unbiased, right?
To protect the country, to protect their families, their wives, their mothers, their children. And I have to tell you that not so many men are leaving. So many across the country are signing up as volunteers to do so. US President Joe Biden held a call with Ukraine's embattled leader on Friday.
US President Joe Biden held a meeting.
Okay, so Ray, we heard there that President Biden has spoken to President Zelensky. What more can you tell us about what they spoke about and the assurances that Biden gave?
Well, President Zelensky has been very critical of the United States response over the last 72 hours. Not always the United States specifically, but the West in general, had pronounced Ukraine standing alone and asked for more assistance. And at one point in a message to the EU, dramatically said that this might be the last time that he was seen alive. So this is a significant change in tone. Thank the U.S. for its support. And also important to keep those lines of communications open, as it seems to be, that this is going to be a fairly long crisis, not something that's wrapped up to one side or the other in just a day or 2 or 3 days. Right now, the United States continues to put men and materiel in the eastern regions of NATO and get ready for a large number of expected Ukrainian refugees coming west across Ukraine's borders. Mariam?
Now we know that the US has now joined the EU in directly sanctioning President Putin and Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov. How effective do you think these sanctions are going to be?
Well, sanctions against individual Russians were part of the American design of its sanctions plan from the beginning, when they said they didn't want to hurt ordinary Russians with more broad-based measures, but target specific elites inside Russia. And of course, Sergei Lavrov and President Putin himself are the elites of the elites. Now, in the last 30 years, a lot of men have gotten extremely rich in Russia. But Russia hasn't been a great place to park that wealth, as we've seen with the cratering Russian stock market and the ruble at its lowest value historically. So they have tended to keep that wealth outside the country in pounds sterling, in euros, and in dollars. This leaves men like President Putin, rumored to be one of the richest men in the world, particularly vulnerable to the kinds of sanctions announced by the EU and now smashed by the Biden administration in Washington. Whether this is a pinch point, whether this is something that will, in the short term, really pressure the president remains to be seen. We've got a Russian leader now talking about Nazis and dope addicts in the capital in Kiev. It's hard to figure out exactly how rational or how self-interested he is at this point, whether personal sanctions will go after his wealth and the enormous amount of money he's got squirreled away outside the country is really going to change anything in the short term. Maria?
Great, so notice as always, Ray Suarez, thank you so much. EU foreign ministers have met in Brussels to pass another raft of sanctions on Russia. Now, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine on Thursday, the bloc proposed punitive measures against Moscow. The sanctions target Russia's energy, financial and aviation industries. The EU's Foreign Affairs Minister, Joseph Borrell, said they have also approved the freezing of assets owned by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov.
I know the sign of immediate support for Ukraine. We have adopted sanctions package. It was agreed last night by the leader of the member states. You know that the European Council provides political guidance in order for the Council of the Foreign Affairs Ministers of the European states approve formally and put that into actions. We have listened today President Putin and Foreign Minister Lavrov.
In Brussels, Sean Murray says that there are questions being asked as to why the EU is not taking strict the international banking system.
There was a strong expectation. We spoke about it a couple of hours ago that the payment system would be on the sanctions list. There was hope, there was unanimity on that, requires unanimity. That wasn't able to happen this time around, just where I said it's still on the table for perhaps a third round of sanctions. But it's very disappointing, I think, for many people who felt that this set of sanctions, although they are far-reaching and they're the largest set of sanctions that the EU has ever implemented, they seem to have fallen flat. They seem to have disappointed. We heard commentary from the likes of Donald Tusk, the former president of the European Council, who said the countries that were against putting SWIFT on the set of sanctions, that they were at disgrace themselves.
So a little bit of disappointment there, and that SWIFT hasn't made the sanctions list. Now the EU, it's told Ukraine that it's not alone. We've seen, of course, these financial sanctions, but the Ukrainian President Zelensky says more help is needed. So how far do you think Brussels...
Oh yeah, you're not alone. Let me tell you, let me assure you, you're not alone. Are you kidding me? Who believes that bullshit? They're alone. They've been completely abandoned, just like we abandoned Afghanistan.
The question is, what does Putin have to do to get a third round of sanctions, to get SWIFT financial transactions on the list? That's a huge question. We know tonight at the UN Security Council, France is putting forward a resolution condemning Russia for the violence. Obviously, Russia will veto that, but it's hoped that...
Yes, Russia vetoed it. Of course. This about as ridiculous as you could get. Oh, and then China abstained. Gotta give it to you, UN people. You're just one hell of a great group of people.
The move comes after Poland called for the United Forces in peace to be boosted together with Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. Poland requested the emergency meeting to discuss Article 4, which covered the security of any...
I suppose I should just end. I'm going to end the stream because it's getting really boring and I just want to go to sleep. So, sorry you couldn't come and make it, and I'm just bored. So are you. You don't even want to try it. You could try it. What does it hurt? Try it. All right. This is, let's see. Oh, let me explain a little bit about my life coaching. I'm a life coach. Believe it or not. Yeah. Well, I told you at the beginning of this thing that I was supposed to be doing family therapy, individual therapy, whatever. I went through all the hours, all the training, all the schooling, got the degree. I did it all, right? And then what happens? A little virus named SARS-2, SARS-2, or otherwise known as COVID, came along, and the schools, what do you call those people? The teachers' unions just went. They just shut it down. It's like, we didn't know shit.
about it. We did not know anything except for what China was covering up. I mean, they weren't telling us what's going on. They were never front. They were never up front from the very beginning. So anyway, now to this day, 2 years later, children are still having to go to school with masks on their face. Those poor little babies. They don't need to wear masks on their face. Oh, don't get me started. Please, don't get me started. I just want to scream. Okay, so anyway, I watched this happen in a matter of a week, days. I mean, I was following it and I was getting all the news information about how Italy was in total panic. Okay, fine. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Okay, let's take it seriously. So I did the 40-day challenge. And, that's kind of like my little Christian history is that Jesus went into the desert for 40 days. And in 40 days, he got, tempted by Satan. And, he wanted him to do all these things. So I figured 40 days was good enough. So I did the whole quarantine for 40 days. I mean, I wasn't working on it, kids. They wanted you to do the online. I was working for the schools at the time, and I like my little kids, to work with them. But online, these are kids that have like emotional problems. Most of them are just probably young, immature, ADD, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to give them therapy on the phone. Hi, Johnny. I mean, me, right? I can't even get anyone to check it out on my live stream. Anyway, I said, nah, thank you. It's not fair. It's not fair to the kids. I don't want to do it. So I quit. And then I was supposed to put all these hours and do all this shit. And then COVID hit. And I was like, I think I had all my hours except for a few hours. And I couldn't do it. And I was supposed to have it all done by the end of 21. No, I think it was 20. Because I had this thing about Ragnarok. Anyway, that Ragnarok was the end of the world as we knew it. Now I'm going to tell you something really interesting. I might delete this. I might not. I might wait and see what, assholes think about my copyright infringements. But anyway, on October, I don't know, 30th, let's say, maybe it's 29th. Anyway, it's the end of October in 2019. And I was in Hawaii and, sleeping in my bed, nice, comfortable bed. And I don't know, it was like early in the morning. Maybe 5 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock. I think it was daylight. So the light was starting to show up. And I was awakened by this very strong, loud, deep, serious voice that said, "It's coming." I'm like, what do you mean it's coming? What does that mean, it's coming? Who are you anyway? Anyway, it wasn't Thor. He was sleeping. He's sound asleep. Wasn't anybody else in the room. The radio wasn't on. The TV wasn't on. There was nobody around. And I get this clear warning voice. Well, I don't know what it was. But it stuck in my head, like a fork. So later on, doing research on things, I started hearing about in January, this thing, COVID going on. And I said, ooh, okay, so what's going on? What does that mean? And then I was looking at this whole thing with they had some kind of military games
and they think, that was when it escaped. Or if it didn't escape, that's when it spread into the rest of the world. Well, of course, I've heard stories from everybody that it could have stopped. It could have started spreading, 6 months earlier than that. They don't really don't know because China is not telling us what's going on here. Whatever it was pretty bad because they covered it up. And anyway, that was the end of that. It's coming. I wrote about it. I don't know. This is it, huh? I don't know.
There about Russia really locking Ukraine into these pincer movements. This is, of course, a stronger Ukrainian army than it was in 2014. But of course, Russia's military is their military.
Is this a stronger Ukrainian army? All right, I got a headache now after that little rant. What? Oh, no. Gotta get rid of that voice. All right. Well, I've almost been here an hour and a half, and I'm getting tired. This is kind of hard. I don't understand how exactly a certain person I won't name can stay on for 3 hours. How do you do that for 3 hours? That's a long time. Can't do it. Okay, well, this has been fun, and I know you're going to join me next time. Look for me next Friday. I'm going to do a Friday Night Live every Friday night. Why not? Can't be any worse than they are. They're pretty bad as it is. I started the show praying for Ukraine, and I'm going to end my show praying for Ukraine. I pray that we don't have a lot of casualties. I pray that they start talking immediately for ceasefire. I pray that this will all be over by tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, and good night.